Welcome to the Sega Lounge, where we celebrate our love for all things Sega, including the games, the music, and the community. I'm your host, KC. Join me as I talk to different guests and learn more about their projects and passion for Sega. Hello and welcome to the Sega Lounge, episode 245. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing great. People are dancing here next to me for some reason. I don't know why. Everyone's really happy about this week's episode. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be great. There's going to be some fighting, and it's always exciting. So, that's nice. So right next to me, to my right, I believe, we have SkillJim. Hello, SkillJim.
Hi, Casey. How's it going?
How are you doing? Doing great. Yeah. Thank you for joining us again to put this debate to bed.
We're going to put Shenmue at the top.
Let's get to the top.
Maybe.
Also, LiVE Reversed.
Good evening.
Oh, ominous.
How are you?
Why are you plotting? Are you plotting something against Shenmue?
Ooh,
you
I'm
have
an enemy
played
of Shenmue now. Suddenly,
you have played Shenmue since last time. Oh, this is going to be interesting. I'm very curious about this.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember him saying on stream as well, it was an S rank, so...
Ooh.
Ooh, I see. Did I say that?
Oh,
I think so. I remember that.
that's on brand, because that's Sonic. Anyway,
All right.
yeah, Jaleel Wyatt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ravsieg. Hello, Ravsieg. Welcome back. You're muted. I don't know why. You muted yourself.
I did.
Okay.
Buonasera, amici. Comment ça va?
Refantasio. That's what I know in Italian. Like Refantasio.
Metaphor.
Metaphor Refantasio. How's it going, Rav?
All's good. Thank you so much for the invitation. Always happy to talk Sega, give my opinions on Sega stuff. And it's always amazing to be with you, all three of you. Always an amazing time for me.
I didn't have any choice this time. Because we really needed to finish what we started 9 months ago. Can you believe it? It's been 9 months already.
It's been 9 months. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so that
to get here.
Yeah, it's time for the baby to come out. The baby being the tier list, the Sega franchise tier list. No, okay, 9 months. No, okay, never mind. Welcome everyone.
I see what you did there.
Never mind. Moving on. So welcome everyone who's watching or listening live. Welcome to people over on the Radio Sega side of things as well. On Twitch, we had comments from Resident SD and Lewis from the Dreamcast Junkyard, who said, Lewis, just now, this has been more anticipated than Shenmue 4, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I think so. I think that's accurate. It's an accurate statement there. Yeah, not going to argue with that. Anyway, so for people who are not really familiar with what we're doing today, there's no news. There's nothing else to talk about. This is also, if you're watching live or listening in live, this is the best event that's happening tonight. Hands down, right? It's more because it really is, right? It's really the most exciting thing you're going to watch tonight.
Yes, indeed.
Because you really don't know what's going to happen. Whereas the other kind of thing that's going to happen, it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
And technically, that's tomorrow. It's 12:30.
Technically, it's tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, for us,
I mean, it's in the AMs, but yeah. So let's not talk about the Game Awards. Let's talk about the real content that matters, the Sega franchise tier list. 9 months ago, all of you joined me for a heated discussion to decide where we should place like the biggest Sega IPs. And we came to a sort of an agreement at the time We didn't cover the whole thing because we started with the news on that episode, and then we took like an hour and a half to discuss like half of our list of franchises, and arguably the most controversial ones, because the biggest ones were at the top of the list. We talked about Sonic the Hedgehog, Like a Dragon, Persona, Puyo Puyo, Virtua Fighter, Shenmue, Phantasy Star, Football Manager, Samba de Amigo, Hatsune Miku, and Monkey Ball. Those were the franchises that we discussed last time. We also had on the list Jet Set Radio, Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, Shinobi, Bayonetta, and then each of us picked an extra franchise, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. The plan at the time was to also ask some of our guests throughout the season for their opinions. Not many people, and by not many people, just one person replied. So we're going to mention those, the ranking that person sent to me, as maybe a way to maybe influence us to change our votes or not. We'll see. But at the end of the day, it's the four of us. It's what matters. We are the people who matter here. So let's see
Sega
what happens. Sega experts, exactly. This is what we came up with last time. Okay, so for people watching the video version of this, this is what we came up with last time. We had at the top Like a Dragon and Sonic the Hedgehog, S tier. Then we had a Persona, Shenmue, Football Manager, and Virtua Fighter, A. B for Puyo Puyo, Phantasy Star, Monkey Ball, and Hatsune Miku. And C for Samba de Amigo. Okay, those were that's the current standing of things for this for our tier list. Okay, I want to know right off the bat. Do you feel like changing any of these? Are these okay so far, guys? Anything happened throughout the year that changed your opinion on any of these particular IPs?
Yeah, you need to create a new tier above S and move Virtua Fighter there. Because it's my
And Shenmue.
executive decision.
What would that tier
Yeah.
be called?
SS.
SS, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Sega's S. I'm. Yeah. Sorry, go, James.
I was going to say, can we move Shenmue higher if Lime wants to rate it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So last time, and let me remind everyone of our individual rankings. So Sonic the Hedgehog got 3 S ranks from myself, James, and Ravsieg. Lime gave it an A. We since got things like, not things like, just Sonic X Shadow Generations. The hype for the Sonic 3 movie is really amazing as well, incredible. I don't know if Lime wants to change this, but it's an S already, so it's okay. Like a Dragon got all 4 S's, sorry. So all of us agreed S rank for Like a Dragon. Persona, I gave it an A, SkillJim gave it an A, Lime and Rav gave it an S. So it's an S. I after playing more Persona this year and being involved in Metaphor Fantasio, which is not Persona, but I mean, yeah, it's a little bit. I would probably change my rating to an S as well. I think it blew up again this year with Persona 3 Reload and other things that they released. So, but it's already an S. Sorry, it's an A. Ooh.
Did you say you're including Metaphor? That franchise? Or not?
I'm not including it as part of the Persona series.
Yeah.
But I don't think people are. It's not. It's Persona adjacent, like Lewis is saying, and it's impossible not to think about Metaphor without thinking of Persona. Everyone's comparing it to Persona 5 Royal. Everyone's talking about the people being involved being like the creators of Persona. So I would say Persona right now, I think, is at, or if not at the same level, very, very close to Sonic the Hedgehog and Like a Dragon. So I don't know. I'm considering it. Just saying. Okay. Puyo Puyo got a B, a C, a B, and a B. Virtua Fighter got a B, a B. No rating from Lime, and an S from Ravsieg, which made an A somehow. Shenmue got an A from me, S from James, no rating from Lime, and an A from Ravsieg. So Lime, you've played the two first games now.
Right.
Surprised you only gave it an A, Casey, actually.
What? Sorry?
I was surprised you only gave it an A.
I'm trying to be unbiased here.
Okay. I'm not.
Don't attack me. Don't judge me. Lime, would you like to rate it now, or would you want me to Shenmue?
Which games? Shenmue?
Shenmue,
right.
Yeah. Because you didn't give us a rating last time because you hadn't played the game yet.
Yeah.
Or the games.
For me, it depends on if I'm rating it as it was on release or if I'm rating it as it is today. So what am I rating it as?
The bigger picture.
I would say yes. I would say yeah.
What would you give it back in the day, and what would you give it today? And then maybe we can go in the middle.
For me, back in the day, a definite S rank. Like very, very creative, immersive. Today, it has aged well, but I would lower it to A for like the standards that we have today.
What were you going to say, Rav?
Rav doesn't want to see Shenmue trump Virtua Fighter.
That would defy every kind of logic. It almost feels like anti-vax to me in how little sense it makes, but still, the thing is that if we were to mix our ratings between what we would rate them at their peak and what we would rate them now with the benefit of hindsight, then I would probably have to change all my ratings.
Okay, so what are we judging by? Like, just pick.
Please, not this again. We had this conversation last time.
There's like 4 points, weren't there? Like sales, popularity.
Yeah, I gave those as like general directions, but the way I see this, I'm with Rev. The way I see it is not just sales and popularity, but also importance, like in terms of like the for SEGA and like for the community.
Sales and popularity is gonna have to be at release, right? At the time.
No, like if you don't have any recent games, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if a game was big 30 years ago, but then there wasn't anything from it ever since, and everyone just forgot about it, except for really hardcore fans, would you still give it an S anyway? It's like,
because Shenmue doesn't like really sell today as it did at the time, right? So like that's way
still
lower.
More than Virtua Fighter, perhaps.
Definitely not, but Shenmue left still a massive legacy anyway. Like people still talk about it because of how groundbreaking it was.
Yeah,
and so I also think that is very valuable when judging the IP's value, I would say.
Yeah.
Which is, again, Casey, we talked about this a while ago.
It's really hard. This is very subjective always. So
that's true.
I am going to have like a hard time to judge it by popularity. I don't have the numbers for that. Like the only real thing that I can judge it by is what I personally judge as the quality and creativeness of the game. So I don't really feel like I can take the popularity into
that's fine.
consideration there, because I don't know.
Something for you to consider in that regard. So if I were to judge Shenmue by my standards, I would give it an S.
Yeah.
I would place it alongside Sonic the Hedgehog and Like a Dragon in terms of my personal preference. I would rank Persona a little bit lower, for example, just as examples. But I trying to be more like unbiased and see the bigger picture. So I don't think it's fair to rank Shenmue alongside Sonic and Like a Dragon as it stands now as a series when compared to like these massive popular series that Sega has put a lot of its weight behind. However, I don't think it's fair to just say that Shenmue is not popular when it's got a really an amazing community behind it, still supporting it today. No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not commenting on anything that you said, Rev. I'm just saying, as an example for Lime to understand my reasoning behind my grading system here. I grade it as an A because I think it's fair. I'm trying to balance the importance of the game, of the series, the impact it has on the community. The community behind it still today, backing the game and the series and pushing for new games. But I have to be honest and realize it and recognize that Like a Dragon and Sonic are like the big franchises and Persona perhaps alongside Persona.
Ravsieg, did you judge the games for today then, like as they are today? Did I get that right?
Yeah, essentially the kind of it's kind of a mix, drawing a line between the impact they had in general and how big they still are today. Yeah.
All right, and how long it lasted. So, okay, so it's kind of both then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's in. I feel like one of them. If one of them's really good, it's still pointless if the other one's negligent. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Negligible. Okay. I mean, my bad.
Right. I got it. With everything in mind, I'm gonna say A.
Okay. So I think it's like I think it so ASAA, I think it's fair to leave it as an A, I believe. Well, we'll see. We'll see at the end. So ASAA. Okay. So after Shenmue had Phantasy Star, we all gave it a B, except for Lime, who hasn't played the game. So no rating from Lime. So that's a B. Football Manager, A, B, S from Rev, A from me, B from SkillJim, S from Rev. So we gave it an A. Is that fair?
Sense. Yeah.
ABS. Yeah, that's the average. A. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Somebody Migo. So myself, James, and Rav gave it a C. So that's a C. Is it fair? Yeah, maybe. I think so. Yeah. Hatsune Miku
compared to the others.
Yeah, I gave an A to Hatsune Miku, and both Lime and SkillJim gave it a B. So that's a B. Yes, B. Just checking. And finally, Monkey Ball. Myself and James gave it a B. Oh, and Rev, B. And then Lime gave it an A. I don't know. We had a great Monkey Ball game this year. Ever since we last talked about
within
this.
the last 9 months.
It was. And it's got it gotten a 2.0 update, which is really good as well. A lot of great content that's being praised by a lot of people. Does it deserve an upgrade from B?
I mean,
with 3 Bs and an A?
Not
maybe actually.
Not in my opinion, though. I mean, it solidified its position in the B tier for me, but I still don't think it qualifies to the same level as the things we've put in A. So
That
I
is
think
fair.
B is still fair.
But for me, that latest Monkey Ball game is probably like my favorite Monkey Ball game since the original.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm thinking maybe it does deserve an extra rank now because of that, because it's like that is the most relevant Monkey Ball title currently, and it's a great one. So
I've since played it, and it actually grew in my eyes. I've only played one game, but I really loved the way that you could like find your own way through the courses and just one shot them. I absolutely loved that. At the same time, when I finished it, I never really got back to it.
Is that enough to give it a rank, Lime? Is playing Banana Rumble enough to... Oh, no, wait, you gave it an A. You gave it an A, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You were making it sound like you hadn't played any game before, and now you played this one. No, you had played another, at least another one, right? You played Banana Mania?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because last time, yes, I've technically played it, but it was like one time and it was like an hour. So like, yes, but now I like played through a whole game, and I very much and
so you gave it an A last time.
Yeah.
Does it still stand?
I think that stands still. I don't want to change that.
Okay. Fair enough. And that's it. That's it for what we discussed and decided last time. So no big changes apparently. I'm just gonna. Yes, Ref.
Just so did I get it right that James is changing it to an A? Then that would
maybe.
I mean,
I'm still sort of undecided on that.
All right. Well, so we can come back to this later.
Let me tell you what Viper ranked these franchises. So he gave Sonic an S, and Like a Dragon an S as well. An A to Persona, so that's the same. B to Puyo. We decided on a B, so that's okay. It's the same thing. B to Virtua Fighter. We gave it an A, apparently. He gave B to Shenmue. We gave it an A. He gave B to Phantasy Star and Football Manager and Samba de Amigo. A to Hatsune Miku. A to Monkey Ball. And we'll leave the rest for the rest of our conversation. No spoilers now.
Ravsieg. Okay. Do you know what? You and I need to play Virtua Fighter together. You need to teach me the ways in Virtua Fighter.
Some people are saying it's coming out tonight.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, and that, I think some people. I think some people mind some open beta on Steam that it's gonna happen soon or whatever. So yeah, so if that happens, we're absolutely. I'll join you.
Yeah. Which I would love someone who loves the game to show it to me for the first time. So yeah,
perfect. Which hey Gam,
hello.
Which by the way, it's supposed to be the same as Ultimate Showdown, but wait.
Yeah, sorry, Casey. I was like taking over and making plans with Ravsieg.
It's okay. So let's keep going. Let's move on to the rest of our franchise tier list. So we have some of these very big franchises, but arguably not as big. I don't know. So Jet Set Radio, Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, Shinobi, and Bayonetta are next. So Jet Set Radio. Who's going to go first with this one? You have I shared with you what I decided on when I planned for this show 9 months ago. I don't know if I'm going to stick with these rankings.
Okay.
We'll see. I haven't touched this since like 9 months ago.
Because when you sent me that file, I was like, spoilers. Now I know what you're gonna give them.
It's okay. It's my opinion. Don't have to do
Fair
the
enough.
same. So who's gonna go first with Jet Set Radio?
I
I can go first. I give it a B.
Mind.
Simple.
Okay,
Keep it short and simple.
and that's it.
I'm
that
not
it?
going to change it. It's a B. Yeah,
And
I
you're
think it
not
is. I think it
going
is.
to explain why it's
I
a B, and that's it.
Do I need to? I think it's
Okay, no, I mean, you don't
yeah,
have to.
no,
I mean, I just think that the listeners could find it interesting.
Okay, I'm going to explain my reasoning behind this. So I think it's a big franchise. It's not as big as, and this is the part of the show and the conversation that we're going to always be comparing this to the previous ones we've discussed, right? So it's not as big as a Persona or a Shenmue or a Virtua Fighter in my book, I believe. I don't think it's got a following as strong as any of these long-standing series. It is still quite popular, so that's why I'm not giving it a C or anything. I think it deserves a B. The fact that it's one of those franchises that Sega decided to reboot or remake or whatever they're calling it, the new era games, that means that Sega also consider it to be important. It's one of those that Sega has always been like releasing, like if you have like a character in Sonic Forces that you can customize, there's always a beat or a gum skin. Monkey Ball has a beat skin as well for your character. There's always some kind of Jet Set Radio DLC, Jet Set Radio merch. So I believe it's strong enough to be a solid B tier franchise. But at this moment in time, it's not enough for more, I think.
Right.
Maybe whatever comes out of this new era makes me change my mind.
Do you reckon we could see any of that tonight? At the Game Awards?
I hope so. Otherwise, it's going to be a drag.
We're gonna get to see the and more.
Oh yeah, exactly, and more.
Maybe.
I should have created like an image for
And
and
more.
more for us to put on
Yes.
the tier list.
You did not. Wow, I'm
I
disappointed.
didn't. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, what about you guys?
So I would probably go B. I would have maybe gone higher back in the day because I loved the original Jet Set Radio, Jet Set Radio Future. But I feel like there's been such a long period of time of like nothing really, and then I know these new era versions of Jet Set Radio, but then they've kind of come after the bomb funk, cyberpunk rush thing, and I feel like that may have taken a little bit of the steam away from the hype of what a Jet Set Radio a new Jet Set Radio game should have had. So I'm actually not as super hyped as I probably would have been had there not been a sort of Jet Set Radio game in a sense already, which is unfortunate. So for me, I probably would put it as a B at the moment, and that's probably with like an asterisk that if the new game and maybe the live service version or whatever is successful, it probably then does need to go up to an A, because I think it does have it is like a franchise that does have a bit of weight to it, and there is like it's slightly smaller, but there is a cult dedicated following to that have been waiting for a new Jet Set Radio game for ages. But currently, I'll slap a B on it.
Makes sense. I do think it makes sense. Yeah. So to clarify again, it's not what I'm not just saying it's a B because I consider this to be a lower quality series or anything. I would probably back in the day rank it higher as well, just like you. But need to be fair here, or at least we try to. Lime, you've played Jet Set Radio.
I have since
A little bit,
played
right?
Jet Set Radio with you, together with you. Actually,
Yeah.
Hashtag
Game
on
Advance.
for Lime, SE.
So do you
On
have
cancel
an
line.
opinion on this?
I was surprised because it has a solid concept. and it's easy to understand, and it is intriguing to do that. It's fun to uh, fly around the sandbox world there and get to the places that you need to get to. I was surprised by how much fun I had with it. So yeah, but then again, as you pointed out, what about today? And so that maybe that does take it down a little bit. And I guess that they could do a little bit more with the concept than what I played. So like my gut feeling is to land on the same there, like a B.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Rav.
No, I'll preface this. I always say this, but I'll preface this by saying that I decided to decide on my ratings before we came here, so that it would be unbiased in relation to what you were saying. And interestingly enough, it's not all that different, because I was for Jet Set Radio, I was very much on the fence between a B and an I, and an sorry. And eventually I decided to go glass half full, the positive way, and I'm gonna give it an A actually. It definitely suffers a lot from the fact that it's been dormant for a long time, but it gets bonus points for the fact that its popularity is still really strong. I mean, I was at the Comic-Con at XL a few weeks ago. It must have been like 1 month ago, and there were people cosplaying Beat and Gum there in middle of all the mainstream things.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Which, I mean, people still love it despite the fact that it's been quiet for so long. And to be fair, and I, believe me, I do not say this out of any personal issue with Shenmue, because if anything, I personally enjoy Shenmue more than Jet Set Radio, and I appreciate the brand itself more than I do Jet Set Radio. But the impression I've got from my time in the internet is that actually the opposite to yours, which is, from what I see, it looks like Jet Set Radio got a lot more fans than Shenmue, which it is my perception from what I see.
Yeah,
it's okay to be wrong. I don't know. I don't have any numbers. Like Live was saying, I don't have any numbers.
Me neither. It's my perception.
Our perception varies from the circles we frequent, right?
Yeah, because for every person that I see saying positive things on Shenmue, I see like 10 people saying positive things about Jet Set Radio whenever I am on Sega's social media channels or circles and all of that. It's not even close. But moving on, I think, and to my headset turned itself off again. I probably need to go charge it at some point. It kind of made me lose my train of thought.
It's the Shenmue.
No, I mean, I'm giving it an A as well, because it stood the test of time because of it. The way it kind of bucked the trend. It bucked the trend with the cel shaded graphics and all those vibrant visuals, which explains a lot as to why it's still in high demand and why it's coming back. And the music, of course, is a big factor, because it played right into it's the perfect fit for the kind of game that it is, and it just became iconic. The entire package became iconic.
Okay,
and
I'm gonna say something. Like, I'm not agreeing with you here, Rav. it's been dormant. We've been talking about how it's been dormant. It hasn't really been dormant because it's an easier game to remake or remaster or re-release, right? It's a smaller, shorter, simpler game, arcadey style game. It's easier to like, I believe, than something like a Shenmue or maybe even a Virtua Fighter, something that has more
I agree.
complex systems and mechanics. So it's easier to be more mainstream than some of these other games. So, and if you think about it, Jet Set Radio has been re-released several times. It's available on
That's true.
Steam. It's available, or I don't think it is anymore, but it was at some point on PlayStation, Xbox. So it's you had the mobile version as well on phones. So whereas something like a Virtua Fighter, a Shenmue, even a Persona or a Like a Dragon, those more intense games are not that easy to re-release unless you're talking
could,
about a Sonic 1, 2, 3.
You
So
could also argue that there are many fan games, especially from what I've played from Sage, that is highly inspired by Jet Set Radio. So that does count for something, I feel.
mhm. It also counts for something that Lewis was stating here in chat. He says, in my opinion, Jet Set Radio's aesthetic and music is more important than its gameplay. It's been replicated successfully without a franchise name, or without Sega, with Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. So Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is hands down the best Jet Set Radio game ever made, and it's not a Jet Set Radio game. It's exactly what Sega should have done with it, and it's not going to be what Sega's going to do with Jet Set Radio. Whatever that new era is going to be, it's not going to be as good. I'm like 99% sure of it. I hope I'm wrong, but I think, yeah. So, and because of that, Lewis has a point here. It's one of the, I agree, it's one of the reasons why I wouldn't rate this higher than a B. Because you have people doing the same or better without the brand name, right? But I don't know.
For me, that's the
one of the
plus.
points that I also had. Like, I guess they could do a little more with the Jet Set series, like evolve it a little bit more, as I've seen in these fan games. I guess that's what it's gonna have to do to get higher for me.
So, but anyway,
Sorry, Raf, I
BBBA.
interrupted you. Like,
You know, the fact that it's copied so often actually, in my opinion, reinforces the fact that it's a strong IP.
Yep.
Because it just means how iconic it is. I guess it's a tell. Anyways,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a good point. That's a good point as
agree
well.
with that.
That's a good point.
Definitely. I guess like I am like still avoiding a little bit to take that into consideration, because I don't feel like I can judge that. Like all like it, there are very good points that people are cosplaying as it. People are making fan games of it. There's just something there. Like I feel like I just don't feel I can judge that. So I guess
I
I'm
feel
trying
like
to
all of that contributes for this to be a solid B, a solid B tier game, a solid B tier IP.
Makes sense to me.
It needs to take something needs to happen to take it a step further and make it an A tier game. I don't know. Gum said something. It's cool to see how the iconic aspect of Jet Set Radio has inspired some really cool love letter games. Hover, Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk, Neon Tail. Can't wait to see what's happening for it with the new content.
Lethal League,
yeah. Which then gave way to Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk.
Maybe Sunset Overdrive as well, a little bit.
Would you say it's inspired by Jet Set Radio? Could be.
I think.
What's the no Hi-Fi
reading
Rush?
about-
Hi-Fi Rush, perhaps.
Rush.
Which is a recent game last year, I think. Lewis said you can't do Shenmue without Ryo. You can do Jet Set Radio as long as you've got the formula. Is that good or bad? I don't know, because some of these arguments can work both ways.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, if nothing changes from us, we have 3 Bs and an A. Viper actually gave it an A, by the way. Not trying to influence anyone. But, so are we going with...
I've been like debating with myself. Should I go up to an A? Should I not go up to an A? So I'm like, I'm still unsure. So I'm still like staying, but like, I don't know.
So at this point, we have a B.
For the right price, Ravsieg, I might choose.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. I'll have
I
to
think maybe we need to sort of wait until the new one releases before you can really make an astute judgment.
Nice. So I'll give it a B for now, and then at the end we'll go through the whole list and see if we want to change anything. Okay, next up on the list we have Streets of Rage. Anyone wants to go first this time? Meaning before me?
Before you.
I don't know why I give it this. Do I still think it's this? I don't know.
I think maybe perhaps.
I think it is. I think it is.
Agree with you. Yeah.
I think it is.
Again,
and everyone listening is like, "What did you give it? What did you give it?" An A. I give it an A.
Yeah. Well, it's another one of those games that's been dormant for ages, and then we got Streets of Rage 4, which has like been such a beloved entry in the series by pretty much everyone that's played it. So I think because of that, Streets of Rage is back, and I feel like people are hyped for Streets of Rage again. I know we're supposed to be having a movie. We're obviously getting this 3D version of Streets of Rage as well at some point, which, from what I've heard, like people seem to prefer the 2D Streets of Rage-ness over like a 3D. But I am also excited at the same time to see how well it can sort of convert into a 3D. I know Fighting Force back in the day was supposed to be like the 3D Streets of Rage one too, and then it was rebranded. But
Spike Out
a little bit, maybe, yeah. Maybe, I don't know. I think iconic wise and how well it's known, like literally, I feel like kids might even know what Streets of Rage is, and obviously that's maybe in part due to 4, but I just feel like it's got more of a, like it's more popular outside of like Sega circles as well. Like people know what it is, Streets of Rage. I don't think it's like, oh, what's Streets of Rage? If you ever hear it in a conversation, I think people know what it is, more so than say like Jet Set Radio, Monkey Ball. I think you're probably right with an A. I would go A, and I don't want to use your sort of rating to influence my rating, but I just think I would have probably said an A had I not seen.
I'm definitely getting influenced by all of your arguments. So yeah,
no shame.
No shame at all.
Influence at all.
Because I mean, I know that, me, like my own experience and the thoughts of it. Like I know I might not have thought of everything. So now I'm like gathering more info, like to really like get a little bit more.
And that's why I think this discussion, these discussions are cool, because we hear things we haven't thought of. James just said something that I remember he mentioned last time, which is like a nice line of reasoning, which is kids or people outside of like the core Sega community know of this. That's a good way to to measure the popularity or how big a franchise is. I'm not sure if I would agree that people, I mean, gamers, like generic gamers probably of a certain age probably know what Streets of Rage is. Kids, though, I don't know. I don't know if I would agree with you there, James, but maybe.
Depends how old the kid is, I guess. But I just think when you go through this list,
Young adults.
yeah, when you go through this list of like Sega properties, I think Streets of Rage is one of them that more people that aren't into Sega or perhaps don't associate Sega with a certain game. We said in the past, like you could mention Sonic to someone and they associate that with Sega, but like Persona, Football Manager, perhaps people don't even know or realize that Sega have anything to do with those games. Whereas I feel like Streets of Rage maybe is a little bit in the middle there, that like people probably do associate that with Sega. And it's one of the few Sega properties that probably non-Sega fans recognize. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. That's a good point. Rav, you don't look convinced.
Because the things I had thought before coming here are pretty much similar to yours. For me, this is going to be controversial, and I'm aware of that. But is the mic quality still okay? By the way,
It's okay.
Because I think that the moment my headsets run out of battery, I think that affects my mic quality as well. Anyway, this might be controversial, but it's a B for me. And the reason for that is that the feeling I've got about Streets of Rage is kind of the opposite of Jet Set Radio in that it's huge for people our age or older, but it doesn't mean anything to young people. And honestly, Streets of Rage 4, from what I see, appealed to the old fans, but I really did not see many youngsters jumping on the bandwagon due to it. It was more of a nostalgia, an exercise on nostalgia directed at the old folks that played it on the Mega Drive / Genesis. Even though it was a great game, that's not at all what I'm discussing here. The difference, the difference is very clear, as in between Jet Set Radio and this is just an example, and Streets of Rage, is that Jet Set Radio seems to have kept a strong profile with the newer generations, as in we see lots of young people loving Jet Set Radio, even though it hasn't had a full-fledged game in it's been like 22 years, 23 years now. While every time we talk about Streets of Rage, it's always veteran retro gamers, and it's never anyone that's young. So it's a brand that feels like it's been eroding with time. Hopefully, the new game changes that. But the fact that it looks to me like it's got nowhere near the current day power that other Sega IPs do, and the fact that other Sega IPs of the same generation have carried on a stronger name for and I'm going to repeat this, the newer generations, people younger than us, is that is going to affect the way I rate it, even though I do enjoy it and I've got good memories of it myself. So I'm gonna rate it a B.
Limey.
Yes. So if we start with the game itself, Streets of Rage 3 at least, I played a lot as a kid, and I absolutely loved it. I also played Streets of Rage 4. I wish I've played it more, because like it was a solid game, but I kind of just like went through it, and then if I do that, it's possible that I like deprive myself of like the core of the fun of the gameplay, because like you're not really learning like all of the awesome moves that you can do that you might have fun with. Like many times, like that's why I like having playing some games on the harder difficulty, because it forces me to learn. And when I learn, that's when I have the most fun with it. But I never actually went in and learned the moves and the combos and stuff that I would probably have like an amazing good time with, because I know that other Streets of Rage 4 fans loved especially that part, and I didn't experience that because I just like went through the game and then I was done with it. So with that in mind, just like listening to those people's experiences when it comes to the game, it does give that little extra that gives it an A for me. I really cannot judge if young people like it or don't like it today. I just have no idea, and so I just have to listen to y'all's arguments about that. But I really can't judge that. I have absolutely no idea, so I really can't take that into consideration.
I'll tell you what I feel about it as a young person. I do like Streets of Rage very much. So
Okay, fine.
Let
Let me
as a
just
young
go and
adult.
let me just go and contact a Zoomer, and we'll find out. You
Um,
know, thing.
so going back to that argument of like young people or not, I tend to agree with Rav that I wouldn't say, and that's true for many of the IPs we're talking about here, because it's Sega, right? Unfortunately, we have to be real here. They've been doing they're making a comeback, but many of these IPs are like very genre specific, Sega specific, and I feel like Streets of Rage is one that is both, and it works in its favor. It's both Sega specific, and retro gamer specific as well, and Resident, as he says, okay, boomer. And I think it's a genre specific game as well. So when I think of beat 'em ups like this, like side scrolling beat 'em ups, I think of Streets of Rage, Final Fight, Double Dragon, perhaps. Those are like the big series. Am I forgetting any?
Golden Axe, maybe? It was
I don't know.
Double Dragon?
I said I think it's 3. Streets of Rage, Final Fight, Double Dragon. Golden Axe.
Battletoads?
Die Hard Arcade.
It's Double Dragon Sega.
That's not a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Maybe Turtles or something? Those type of games.
Yeah.
Battletoads.
TMNT, the games. Yeah, Battletoads, perhaps if you're going really, really retro, right? But like the ones that are still somewhat relevant today, maybe TMNT, Turtles, and we have the Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah,
Maybe,
indeed.
but it feels like too little. But I don't know. But I consider these
That's also a very fun
three,
game.
these 3 series to be like the ones that are the series that the people who love this genre really enjoy. So I do feel like Streets of Rage is a very relevant game. And
So do you not feel like kids like don't know what a beat 'em up is then? Because if you're saying like those are the 3 main beat 'em up titles,
I would love to tell you what kids think, but I really don't.
all I was thinking was like, let me just sort of like explain my point of view on that. I was thinking when those Sega games were like announced recently, the new era things, and maybe tonight if we get some more, I feel like, you know, when you get like loads of people saying like, what's this, what's this, what's this, I feel like if Streets of Rage came on the screen and the title was Streets of Rage, for example, I wouldn't expect to see everyone in the chat being like, what? What's Streets of Rage? You know what I mean? Streets of Rage 5 or something like, what? Where are the other 4? Do you know what I mean? I'd expect people to recognise.
Was there a 2?
Whereas, like, say if, I don't know, let me look at another game, for example, like Puyo. Well, I don't know, because maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Okay, Virtual On then. like one of the ones at the bottom.
Oh, shots fired.
Just
No,
saying,
it's
like,
true.
if
I'm not going to argue because that's true.
I just
That's true.
expect the people
in
in
the
the
West.
chat to like not really know
Mhm.
certain things Sega related, but I would have assumed people to not be surprised by Streets of Rage and be like, "Oh, what's this game?"
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And what I was saying in terms of like it being a genre type of game, if that makes sense. So people in the beat 'em up community know of and love Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage 4 was a big thing. Let's not forget Streets of Rage Remake, which is a big thing for a very long time with a strong community behind it. Kept the franchise alive. Let's not forget the countless fan games that were inspired by Streets of Rage, and that ultimately ended with the release of Streets of Rage 4. So I do think it's still a big franchise. Is the beat 'em up genre dying or not aging well, like Ravsieg posted in chat? Maybe. I don't know. I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised by Streets of Rage 4 and how much I liked it. Not being really a big fan of the genre, it rekindled the love that I had for Streets of Rage. And it's really, like Clive was saying, if you put time into the game, it's so much fun. It's and like the Mr. X's Nightmare DLC is so much fun. Like the endless mode that you get, it's so addictive and so much fun to like just pull off those combos and have like those special attacks that take up a little bit of your health, but then you can collect some items or get some boosts or stuff. And I feel like the beat 'em up community really went like all in with that game, and that rekindled not just my love but many people's loves for this series. So that's why as I said before, I don't think it's like an A+ tier. If we were doing like plus and minuses, I would probably give it an A-. So I wouldn't really mind if we ended up going with a B, but I do still think it's an A. So yeah. Viper also said it's an A, by the way.
Yeah. My
Kind of
question
also
is.
Sorry, Lime. I was just going to say, kind of also almost put like that .emu company like on the map a little bit as well, and they've gone on to like create games like Shredder's Revenge or whatever, and people are excited for those type of games again because of that company having so much success with Streets of Rage 4, right? And then the Shinobi one as well, right? That's
so Lizard Cube. You mean Lizard Cube?
Lizard Cube. Sorry, yeah.
.emu was the publisher, and and so that Shredder's Revenge and whatnot.
Yeah,
they published that as well. Yeah. Okay. So is it an A? 3 A's and a B so far? Okay. Yeah, moving on then, because we have more series to talk about. Crazy Taxi. Hey. I gave it a B. Why do I always have to start? I should have just put my...
I just love Casey like, hey. I give it a B.
I gave it a B. I don't like to make crazy money. No, I give it a B for basically the same reason I gave Jason Radio a B. Although I would, if we were doing like plus and minuses, I would probably give it a B- when compared to Jason Radio. However, since I gave this B 9 months ago, I sort of realized that it's more popular than I understood at the time. So it seems to be one of the most popular Dreamcast games. I didn't really understand why Sega decided to go with Crazy Taxi as one of their new era games. I love, especially the original on the Dreamcast was one of my most played games back then. I don't think it's going to be as popular now, like in terms of mainstream appeal. We've talked about this many times before, but it depends on what they do with it. But I wouldn't place it as high as Jet Set Radio, for example, or again, if we were doing like plus and minuses. But I think a B is fair enough. I don't know if you guys have a different opinion in terms of like comparing Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi. You think like Crazy Taxi is more popular than Jet Set Radio? Is it the same?
I fully agree with you, and honestly, that's the perception I also had. As in, honestly, most of the arguments I voiced both for and against Jet Set Radio apply to Crazy Taxi as well, but maybe not as much. And the same is going to happen with Golden Axe in relation to Streets of Rage.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So Crazy Taxi was it got a considerable following, although even though I don't think it's as large as Jet Set Radio's is. It's still kind of iconic to this day. The visuals and the music and everything's appealing, but probably not as much as Jet Set Radio is. And it's also a game that's stood the test of time pretty well, even though it hasn't had any full-fledged big budget game for a while, but not as well as Jet Set Radio has done. So it gets a B from me as well. It was pretty good. It was memorable. It was one of Sega's last in console hurrahs. This is Sega and this is in a Sega console shouts, because it was
an amazing arcade port, right?
Yeah, and the game itself, it screamed Sega. It was bright and vibrant and insane and cheerful and all of that. Which, well, the Sega games from the time were usually associated with. That's really I could say a lot more about it, but it would probably take too long. I'm excited for the upcoming Crazy Taxi, and if it goes as well as I hope it is, we might look into upgrading my score into an A, if that's okay. Let's see. The future will tell.
I would love to upgrade everything to an S rank at some point.
Be
That would be
the dream.
amazing. Okay. Lime. Have you played Crazy Taxi?
KC.
Do you know who Axel is?
You haven't. Oh, shut up. Don't you give me that, because I know now that there are more characters other than BD Joe in Crazy Taxi. But
There's
yeah,
Gina. There's Gus.
As Axel.
Oh my gosh. You haven't
Right,
given
let's
me
get on.
enough Sega education to
Hashtag.
judge.
You weren't playing Sega
Crazy
Heroes,
Taxi.
were you, Lime? Because all 4 of the characters from the original Crazy Taxi were
True.
on it.
See, I don't like. I'm at the level that I don't even know what Sega Heroes is.
Let's not
Or
go
is
into
it the
that.
one I'm thinking about? Like you play like very many different Sega characters, and you were like battling like a console at the end. Or am I
So-
thinking
I
about
don't
something
It was
else?
like a match 3 type of game.
Yeah. And it's long gone, by the way.
It was like a phone game from the
Yeah.
from
Okay,
the 20.
What am I thinking about?
2010s.
Like you
Yeah.
play like different. Like you play like many different characters, like Sega characters, and then you like think you fought a console at the end. Like, does that ring a bell?
I
Am
don't
I
think
mixing
you
it up with something else?
fought a console, but okay.
What did you fight at the end then?
Not sure.
was like was it like a wizard or something? She had a
Yeah.
name, but I don't remember.
No.
Pay to
neither.
win thing,
A
right?
being
Drama
from
game.
another dimension or something, I believe.
But like they had like
It was Dramurgen, not something like that.
shirts.
Something like that. That's a good question for an upcoming quiz. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's not.
I'm not going to think about it anyway.
Yeah, it's
but
neither
that's not what we're talking
here
about
nor
anyway.
there. It's
So,
like not relevant to this discussion.
but yeah, again, KC, you haven't given me enough Sega education to judge Crazy Taxi.
Okay,
We haven't played it together.
I'll take care of that soon. Okay, so
Well,
by the way, for people watching, this is Sega Heroes. You had
not
the
what you
match
not what I was
3.
talking about. No.
Yeah, the match 3 game
No.
at the bottom that you controlled, and that moved the characters at the top against the enemies. Okay. So you have Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Sonic, and Crazy Taxi, Shenmue, and most of like the most iconic Sega franchises. And that's it. Okay, so no Crazy Taxi from Lime. What about you, James?
This is a tricky one actually because I'm toying with a C, on Crazy Taxi, even though I absolutely adore it. I just feel like maybe people are only fond towards the original game. And I know Crazy Taxi 2 was pretty good as well. Like I quite liked Crazy Taxi 2. But I think when people think of Crazy Taxi, they just think of the original. Like 2 and 3 they don't even think about. And this new one is meant to be like a live service one. So I mean, I'm excited for more Crazy Taxi, but I don't know if that appeals to me specifically. So I don't know. Like I probably would give it a B, but as like an ongoing series, maybe it's only the first game that people actually like. So I might just give it a C for that reason. It probably it's in between a B and a C for me on this tier list.
Mm-hmm.
I'd personally put it higher, but just thinking about like when we compare it to other franchises on this list, you're talking like multiple games that are kind of iconic, whereas Crazy Taxi just to me just feels like the original is what everyone likes, and when they want to re-release it needs to have yeah, otherwise so everyone's always thinking of the original game in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go with a C on that. Maybe not controversial, but adds a bit of fire to the discussion.
I don't think it is. At all. I was torn between a B and a C. I remember, and even now, but I think it's a B is well deserved here.
Okay.
So B, C, B. I think that's a B, right?
Yep.
Like a low B, B minus. Okay, Crazy Taxi ranked. There we go. Another B. Too many Bs. Next up, Golden Axe. Who wants to go first? That's not me.
Not me.
I can.
Sure.
Honestly, Golden Axe probably suffers, as far as my opinion goes, of course, suffers from the same limitations that I gave Streets of Rage, but not to the same level of recognition amongst older folk. As in, it's a French. I mean, if I argued that very few people under the age of 30 are aware of Streets of Rage or how big it was, then there's definitely even fewer people aware of what Golden Axe is and what it represented back then. And even amongst the retro fans and the people who played games back then, it's not nearly as iconic. It's still a title that if you go to someone who played games in the 90s, in the early 90s, oh, Golden Axe, they're still gonna go, oh yeah, I do remember that. most of them that is, but that's another franchise that has eroded. Hopefully, it's gonna have another renaissance. But as it is, and even though I did enjoy the games back then, beat 'em ups were never really my thing.
Beast Rider.
And yeah, well,
For people watching or for the listeners, we're just now looking at some footage from Golden Axe Beast Rider, arguably the best game in the series.
well, yeah, well, that's these. I wasn't even taking these under consideration because it was a bit of a non-event. Sure.
To be fair,
it had a 3D game.
Yeah,
go on.
it got more than Streets of Rage, to be honest.
Exactly. So that's more than Streets of Rage did during that time. I'm not sure if it was any helpful though. I'm not sure if it really contributed positively to the IP's image. I don't think it did. That's a game that you barely hear about nowadays, and when you do, it's usually not on a very positive light. So with that said, Golden Axe is a C for me.
Okay.
It's not bad, so it's not a D or an F, but it just doesn't have the same status as pretty much any other IP that we've discussed thus far.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
I think I tend to agree with Rav on that. Was it Golden Axe that also had like they were prototyping like a remake of it or something? But
I was trying to find footage. Golden Axe.
Yeah.
Golden
Axe.
The which was some people didn't really enjoy. Oh, I found it. Some people didn't enjoy like the reference to Golden Axe. People from the original team thought it was a bad taste joke.
Would you mention in Beast Rider and that Golden Axe has actually had like more than Streets of Rage, and then you've got this as well. So it seems like they were really trying to give Golden Axe another go. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the originals on the Mega Drive, but not as much as Streets of Rage. So it's just one of those that I can't rank as high as Streets of Rage, which I think I give a B, right, or an A.
Yeah, an A.
So yeah, an A. Yeah. This would be below Crazy Taxi for me as well. So I'll just stick with a C on Golden Axe, I think, just to sort of keep it simple. And yeah. I don't really know what more I can say about that. I think Golden Axe might be one of those that people in the Twitch stream comments would say, "What's this?" compared to Streets of Rage. So, like Rav says, I think less people are aware of Golden Axe than certain franchises like Streets of Rage, for example. So, I think it has to go below Streets of Rage, whatever ranking that would be.
Okay.
Sorry, Casey. The thing with the original devs for the Golden Axe the prototype that came out on April Fools, I think that was the Steam description had some like negative word on that, like it called the game like shoddy or clunky or something like that.
Was it just the title itself? Like they called it Golden Axe?
Something in the description. I'm pretty sure of.
Okay.
That
was it always
maybe
called Golden Axe, or was it just they called it that for April Fools?
No, it wasn't called Golden Axe. The game was Axed. So that's This wasn't April Fools. This was for the Go Sega campaign for the 60th anniversary. They released
the same year as Yakuza, the Yakuza Streets of Rage.
Yeah, they released a series of like Steam only games, either like crossovers that someone put together, like Streets of Kamurocho for Yakuza and Streets of Rage and stuff. Yeah.
Was there a Sonic one as well? Am I making that up?
I don't think so. There was an endless dungeon crossover with
Fantasy Zone.
Yeah, exactly. It was.
There was one with
called
tanks. Endless Zone, and there was one with tanks as well. I believe we played that on stream, Rav.
We did
at one point.
We did.
Yeah,
I
I
was
think we
thinking of
played
the
all of
murderous
them.
Sonic thing. That's why I was thinking of. I think
That was an
that was an
April
April
Fool's.
Fool's one.
Yeah. This
But
was
that
like a
wasn't Steam
bonus
year,
thing
actually.
for as a celebration of Sega's 60th anniversary in 2020. Yeah. Lime,
Yeah.
any comments on Golden Axe?
I did play it, but not so much that I feel I can judge. Like I tried it out, I guess, like a few times, but I don't think I got further than the first stage, if even that. So I don't think that's enough to judge it by. I do agree, though. Like from what I played, it probably should go below Streets of Rage.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't dare
Yep.
give it a rating.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I gave it a C as well. So I agree with everything that's been said so far. I just wanted to add that it's really weird for Sega to go with Golden Axe. I think it's weird for Sega to go with Crazy Taxi for this new era thing, but it's even weirder for them to go with Golden Axe. I think the only thing that makes it stand out is the theme of the game, like the setting, like the medieval thing, and maybe trying to do something Elden Ring / Dark Soulsy like with it to attract that kind of audience. I don't know, because other than that, why try to resurrect something that's been dead for 10 plus years? I don't know, more. Like Beast Rider was probably like 2004, 6. I don't know. They tried to do this prototype 2012. So why? I don't know. It would be even weirder to do like Altered Beast, but I think there's a little bit more of an attachment of some people to Altered Beast, because for many people, it was their first Mega Drive or Genesis game before Sonic, the Mega Drive came packed in with Altered Beast. This is in the US, I believe. And so there's like a personal attachment, like a nostalgia feeling towards Altered Beast that I don't know if is still there for Golden Axe for many people. So just wanted to throw this out there. I don't really get why, but I'm excited to see what they come up with for this.
And the
So let's
TV show,
see.
right?
Oh, that's a TV show as well. Another one. Another, like, what do we call it? The transmedia thing, right? And Streets of Rage has a movie. So I don't know. Movie, TV show,
True.
I don't know. Okay, so that's Golden Axe. Up next, Shinobi. Joe Musashi.
I like how you grouped all these together, by the way, the new era set of
Yeah.
5. Just feels kind of like I'm comparing it to like the upcoming release that isn't a thing yet. So it's difficult to give a ranking because this new game could like blow it into the stratosphere. I don't know.
That's the thing, right? So I didn't know if we would get anything in terms of news, like trailers, and anything that would like maybe sway us to change our votes, our rankings. But we didn't get anything, so we're still in the dark, completely in the dark about everything. I don't know. Shinobi, what do you think, James?
See, for me, without
C for
this
you?
upcoming game, well, yeah, I was going to say a C actually. Without this upcoming game, I probably would rank it as a C, just because I feel like, I don't know, it's not really been a thing for ages. I know a lot of people have nostalgia for like Revenge of Shinobi on the Mega Drive and maybe Shadow Dancer, perhaps. Outside of those games, I think similar games like Ninja Gaiden took over that ninja vibe that you'd get out of a Shinobi game. And I'm not sure if
Ghost of Tsushima.
well, yeah, I guess so. There is elements of that in these future games. I do think it's smart that they're going with like a 2D Shinobi out of this new era lineup. I think Shinobi in that format has a chance of being successful because a lot of people are into those type of games, like your Prince of Persia game that you just played recently, Casey, and similar games that people play. I can't think of what the names are off the top of my head, but
Like the Metroidvanias.
Celeste, is it Celeste and stuff like that? That like got that sort of look and feel.
Yeah.
Ori and the Blind Souls. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, Metroidvania is probably what we're gonna get is probably a Metroidvania like game, right? It's like
PS2
some backtracking, Castlevania. What's that with the bug?
The bug.
Something Knight, Hollow Knight, and things like that. So I think it's that kind of game, and it probably suits the style of like a ninja game. This is footage from the PS2 game, by the way.
Interesting game. I wasn't too into it. I didn't play it when it first came out, the PS2 Shinobi, but I did pick up that and Nightshade since and played them a little bit. They're okay. I think maybe Shinobi could have a chance of being a B tier ranking if this new game is a good game, which it probably will be actually with Lizard Cube behind the wheel of it. But currently, until that happens, I'm going to give it a C.
Fair enough. Okay. Lime.
Yeah.
Are you skipping this one or?
I probably should, but I do still kind of agree, like somewhere like CB, probably C, like from what I've seen, at least. I haven't seen this game though. Like if we're gonna do the whole series, like what I'm thinking about is like very
the Mega
early
one.
Yeah, like a very early one. And if we're gonna like judge it from today, then there are a lot more like better games like that out there, even if it was groundbreaking for its time and very good for its time. So like judging by that, yeah, probably a C. But
this is too much, right? It's too much. Like I apologize to our viewers for that. Like,
then again, like maybe if I played that PS2 game, maybe that would have changed it. I don't know. So like from what I played, a C, but that's just personally. I don't really I can't really like tier it like as a whole, I feel. But if I have to, then it's going to be from what I've seen, and that's going to have to be a C.
So are you going to give it a C or not? Or not at all? Nothing at all.
If I'm allowed to, like seeing the circumstances that I have painted up for you, then yes, a C. If I'm not allowed, then no.
You're always allowed.
Okay, then a C.
Rav.
CKC, it's a C.
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 Muy bien.
The thing about Shinobi is that the peak was clearly in the 16-bit era with the Revenge of Shinobi. And from there, it feels like games were generally very well received. They've got a good reputation, like Shinobi X on the Saturn. People still say good things about it. The very few people who care. The same with the PS. I'm sorry?
I say I forgot about that game, actually.
Yeah, I was trying to find footage of that as well.
And the PS2 game, same thing. I think people received it rather positively generally. But it's a C for me because, honestly, even though just like any other title here, it's got its own passionate fans. It feels like it's probably the smallest, except for Golden Axe, it's the smallest group out of all the titles we've discussed in this tier list. And honestly, it's a series that, even though it's had a nice enough reputation throughout, it wasn't one of those that Sega left to gather dust, or it wasn't one of those that was dragged through the mud because of games of dubious quality. It still feels like it's an IP, a title that doesn't really move the needle for Sega. It's there. It's not necessarily increasing sales or increasing Sega's profile in any way. It's just one of many that doesn't really have the same kind of impact as many other do, if this makes sense.
Yep.
So that's why I can't bring myself to give it any higher. I mean, in my opinion, C is still a very good series. It's just not to a level where I'd say it's iconic in the global video game picture for any reason. So yeah, it's a C.
Okay. Viper also gave it a C. I give it a B. For the simple reason that I don't think it's fair to place it on the same level as Golden Axe. I think it's a tier above.
I did consider that.
But I do mostly agree with everything that you just said, all of you. So I understand why C is the way to go here, which is like there's no contest here. I would place, if we were doing like plus and minuses, probably I would give Shinobi a C plus then, and would place Golden Axe lower, because I feel like Shinobi is better known and more loved than Golden Axe in certain circles, not just the Sega circles as well. Because what you said, Rev, is a very good point. They didn't like abandon the franchise. They just didn't release a game for the Dreamcast, which would probably make a whole lot of difference, because they had a Saturn game, they had 2 PS2 games, so they kept working on it.
DS game as well, right?
Sorry?
3DS game?
Oh, there was a 3DS game. That was very good, by the way. Kind of hard as nails, but very good. And I totally forgot about that. Well, so maybe it's really a B. Okay, but I understand it's not as iconic as some of the other ones, as some of the other Bs on this list. So to be fair, and we have a monkey ball on B. We have how did we just give B to Hatsune Miku? I think this isn't fair. Jet Set Radio is a B, so yeah, Golden Axe should be. Golden Axe and Shinobi should.
Don't blame me.
Actually, I do blame Rev because he didn't vote. So
He didn't vote, yeah.
he didn't vote. Okay, so that's C for Shinobi. So to close off this like regular list, Bayonetta. I didn't vote for this one because I just played a little bit of one of the games, so I don't have enough experience with this. And I know, don't cancel me, I know it's a very good series. I'm just curious to find out what you guys, or how you guys would rank Bayonetta, which is surprisingly a Sega franchise.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll say, if I go first, I'll say an A for Bayonetta, just because I feel like it's broken out of the mold of these other titles that are, well, okay, I won't compare it to other titles like Sonic, for example, because it definitely has broken the mold, but Bayonetta, in terms of like being on other systems and primarily now like a Nintendo exclusive almost, I feel like it's become a more well-known series ever since that happened to it. obviously the original was quite beloved back in the day. I got it on the Xbox 360. I loved it. I thought, it's finally like a brand new Sega IP at the time that was a quality game amongst some poorer Sega releases. Bayonetta was like hitting home, and that's obviously got that sort of Platinum Games coat of paint to it that's made quite a lot of successful beat 'em up type of like 3D action fighting. They're well known for that sort of thing. And then it moved to the Nintendo console. Would it be Wii U? I think, right?
Yeah.
When Bayonetta 2,
Bayonetta
that was an
2,
exclusive. And then
with
obviously they
Nintendo
re-released
publishing.
Yeah, they re-released Bayonetta 1 as well, and just more people got to play it, I guess, and experience it. And I think because of the sort of the shock value,
because Wii U.
Well, I'm just thinking because of the sort of sexualized shock value that's Bayonetta's got as well. It's sort of Nintendo being primarily a kids focus thing. Maybe it was a bit like getting a nudie magazine as a teenager. It's got that kind of like quality to it that it's more people lean towards it, if you know what I mean, because on a Nintendo console, because there's a little bit of risqueness about it.
And talk about
Marios
it,
and
right?
stuff like that. Yeah, for sure. So I think that helped it, and arguably she's like quite a well-known character now. Just a general, like everyone knows who Bayonetta is, right? Perhaps not everyone, but I think a lot more people know Bayonetta than
certainly more non-Sega fans than other franchises that we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know there was a third game. I wasn't as keen on the third game, but I know it was beloved as well. That's just a personal thing for me. But
there was Origins as well, like the 2D.
Yeah, that's true, and that's Suressive thing, whatever. Didn't do as well, I don't think. But obviously, it's a game in its library now. Yeah, I think it's still a thriving series. I'm not sure if there's going to be a Bayonetta 4, but it feels like there probably will. So I'd probably give it an A.
Makes sense. Lime or Ravsieg?
I would kind of like from what I've seen of it. I was also kind of like between like a B or an A because it's definitely a well-known character, and I feel like I've heard about it enough that in that case I feel like I can kind of judge that. At least that's my feeling about it. And from what I've seen, it definitely seems to have all of those like A quality features that would rank it that way. It's like that's like my first impression about it. I probably shouldn't judge it since I actually haven't played it. But that's my impression at least of it. So like if I played it, I would probably rank it like a B or an A.
That's the only reason why I didn't give it any ranking here, because I haven't played it. But if I had to give it anything, I would give it an A as well, for the same reason that I gave, for example, Football Manager an A, that I gave Hatsune Miku an A. They're popular enough that they don't even need the Sega brand to be recognized and recognizable and popular. And that I think this is
a quality game as well. It's,
exactly, for sure.
People love that sort of stuff.
But it's more than that. Like, they're iconic. They're like Bayonetta is a charismatic character, right? And the risque feel of it as well, like you mentioned, James, that also helped. So I do feel like I think this is like the popular without Sega category and tier would be Football Manager, Hatsune Miku, and Bayonetta for me. But again, I
Right,
didn't
'cause we're-
vote because I didn't play the games, so I haven't played the game.
Yeah.
So
We are judging like about like I from like how iconic it is, right?
as well.
And
I
and
think it's
like
important to have quality as well. But
yeah, and like
But it kinda goes hand in hand.
Bayonetta is undoubtedly iconic. I don't even think you need to play it to see that. That it definitely has those like whether you agree with it or not with the over sexualized thing, that is definitely something that makes it well known and separates it from other things. So that does kind of make it iconic.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Rav, did you have an opinion on Bayonetta?
Sadly, I don't think it would be fair for me to rate it because it's not a title that I am overly familiar with. I am aware that it's a name that transcends Sega, as you said, and I totally agree with it. It's very popular, so just by brand recognition alone, this would probably be an A. But I am not comfortable with rating it, considering that I never played it. Mostly because when it came out, it was during a time where I was distant from games, so that timeline between 2005 to 2015, that's kind of a black hole for me. There's very few games that I really recognize and that I really was into during that time frame. And
It's
Bayonetta
the same for
is
me.
honestly
Like, yeah.
and to make it worse, Bayonetta is one of the genres that I enjoyed the least. 3D action games are not my thing, even though lots of people love them. I just don't. It's a chore for me to play them, to be honest. So I would probably be unbiased if I was to rate it anyway. So it's probably Bayonetta fans are probably thankful that I'm not doing it.
So I think it's an A, right? In that case, the only person that is allowed
Is
to
me.
rate it
And
rated
I'm
it an
Sure that
A.
Viper gave it either an A or an S.
An A, yeah,
Yeah, of
yeah.
course.
And I wholeheartedly agree with this. It's an A. Wholeheartedly agree, for sure. I think Bayonetta is an A, for sure. So I think it's very, very fair to go with this one. Okay.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, so this is the state of the tier list so far. Okay. Right?
Okay.
So we have a lot of B's and A's here, a couple of S's, 2 C's, and we have 4 more franchises to discuss.
Oh my god.
That's kind of like to be expected, really. What I'm looking at there.
Yeah.
I think you
I
probably
think
would expect
it's a
to see
good
more
outcome.
A's and
Yeah.
B's. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So we're going to take a quick couple of minute break, just to mention something, because it's when we're recording this, we're doing this live on Thursday, the 12th of December, which means we're one day away from the beginning of Radio Sega's Winterfest 2024. And I just wanted to acknowledge that. It's the 10-year anniversary, just like it's the 10-year anniversary of the Sega Lounge. It's the 10-year anniversary of Winterfest, a project that is very dear to my heart as well, from my time at Radio Sega. And I just wanted to let people know, if you're listening or watching to this in podcast form or on YouTube, probably you still have time to go over to radiosega.net and listen to some of the content that's going to be airing throughout the weekend. So it starts on Friday, so that's tomorrow if you're watching live, at 5 p.m. UK time, GMT, with Sega Mixed Drive hosted by Rexy, and it goes all the way till Monday at well over midnight with Radio Redux and Last Minute Continue. I'll be actually doing the last live show, I believe, which is Night Train, a little bit after 10 p.m. perhaps, because I heard from someone that the Shenmue Dojo show is going to overrun. So
As per usual.
and
Should
so
really
we're
have,
probably going to start a little bit
anticipated that.
after.
Yeah.
People
gonna be live as well.
expect that. Sorry?
Mm.
Sorry,
I'm
Ram?
going to be live as well.
You're going to be live as well, yeah? Which
Yep.
will be on, I don't know. When was
That's
will
going
it
to be Saturday, 11 a.m. UK time, GMT.
There we go. With a
And
quiz.
that's not necessarily going to be
Ooh.
VGM quiz, but it is going to be a music quiz. And there's
Okay.
going to be a prize to the winner. It's going to be, and this is a first. This is breaking news. It's going to be a Mega Drive music quiz.
Oh.
Winner
So
and winner gets Sonic Superstars Steam key.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. So if you're into Mega Drive music and you want to take part, 11 a.m. UK time, radiosega.net to take part in that music quiz hosted by Ravsieg. But for the whole schedule, go to radiosega.net, the main page, and you're going to see a news article like this, and it's got the full event schedule. If anything changes throughout the weekend, this is the place to go and check whatever changes have been made to the schedule. So Radio Sega's Winterfest 2024 celebrating 10 years. Wow, it's been so long. We're getting really, really old, and it's honestly kind of cool and sad, but cool. Okay, back to our tier list, everyone. Ooh, we got the fun stuff now. So I asked each of you guys to add a franchise that was not on the list for us to rate as well. From Sonic to Bayonetta, I think we can all agree that these are all like the most recognizable / iconic, popular, whatever you want to call them, IPs that Sega currently has. We left out a few ones that we don't think would make sense for this. We didn't, for example, we didn't include Total War, which would make sense, but we are not, any of us, we haven't played any of those games, or at least not as much as we should to be able to rate these. So I don't think it would be fair to include those. So now we are going to go with the ones that each of us picked. Let's not do this in order, in the order that I have here. Let's start with SkillJims. SkillJim, you picked Space Channel 5.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so we have about 15 minutes left to tackle this, okay?
Okay.
So you picked Space Channel 5 because I assume it's a series that you love.
Yeah, it's obviously it's another one from the Dreamcast era. I felt like we already done Space Shuttle 5, but I'm thinking of the character one that we did, right? We did like a sort of Sega iconic characters. Ulala to me is one of those iconic characters. When you're talking about cosplayers and that sort of stuff, a lot of people do cosplayers. Ulala still, despite again another game that's had such a hiatus from those Dreamcast days of. And part 2 didn't even make Europe. It was like a Japanese exclusive on the Dreamcast, right? I know it was then included in the Steam pack, where it's like that was the first time I'd actually played part 2. But that original game, it was just something a bit different. I'd never played a game quite like it before. There's probably is like rhythm-based games prior to that, but that was my very first rhythm-based game, and yeah, just the aesthetics of it, the characters, the music is iconic to me, and it's got Michael Jackson in, which I said before is like it just makes it an instant A for me that it's got Michael Jackson in it, because he's such an iconic person to me, and the fact
and
that
an
he's
iconic Sega character as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just adds an extra rank to it. Probably was sit maybe like a B currently, Space Channel 5, but just because of that alone and the fact that I picked it on the Steam list, I'll probably go into the A bracket. I know we did get the VR game that was okay. It was nice to have a new Space Channel 5 type of experience in recent years, and hopefully it can be another title that maybe Sega are thinking of bringing back. I'm not sure if gameplay-wise it would ever be a massive hit, because it's like a very particular type of game, sort of in the same vein as a Hatsune Miku type of game, in a sense, with the rhythm
And
basedness.
those are quite popular.
And those are quite popular, true. Nice. Seeing Michael Jackson dance there. Yeah, it's a hard one to call Space Channel 5. I don't know how successful a new game would be. I think it does hold merit. Like, I do think a lot of people recognize the character of Ulala and know the name, in a similar sort of vein as they would with Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio. I feel like it's amongst those type of games in terms of name. So just based on those facts and the fact that I picked it, I'll pick it. I'll go with an A for Space Channel 5.
Okay.
It probably is a B, but
it's a B. But
what you guys say.
Sorry, it's a B, but I'll give it an A. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Lime or Rev? Do any of you want to tackle this one?
I
haven't
actually
seen
do.
much of it, so no.
Okay.
I mean, one thing that really shows to, and yes, and I totally agree, and that's something that I was going to bring up as well, James. That it's kind of on the same boat as both Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi, as in it was one of those Dreamcast titles or titles from the Dreamcast era that made an impression that still lasts to this day. And one good proof of that, evidence of that, is that, on the new Astrobot game, there is a scene.
Yeah.
There is a scene where there's tons of bots inspired by multiple games, and there is actually an Ulala bot there. And there were plenty of people, even youngsters, people who were definitely really young, if born already, but by the time Space Channel 5 came, who were like, "Wow, that's Ulala, amazing!"
Really?
It shows just how timeless the game is, even though it's not one that we usually think a lot of. So honestly, I honestly would struggle to rate it higher than Crazy Taxi, because even though it's got a similar kind of impact, I think it's not to the same extent as Crazy Taxi, let alone Jet Set Radio. So I was on the fence between a B and a C, but I ended up going for a B. I think Space Channel 5 deserves a B.
Okay.
5 points.
I'm gonna be quick about it. I give it a B. I think it's fair. I get what James, or where James is coming from with this. I do associate Ulala and Space Channel 5 with the Dreamcast. It's very near and dear to my heart as well. I believe it was also like my first real rhythm game that I've ever played. And I haven't played the VR one. Was hoping to get a non-VR version of it, but sadly never happened. But I do hope that Sega in some way or another brings back Space Channel 5, and even just like a crossover with Hatsune Miku would be nice. Just a thought, like the two iconic rhythm game legends crossing over. Puyo Puyo Tetris, and now we have Hatsune Space Channel Miku. I don't know. So B, A, B, I think that makes it a B, right? I think that's the rating we're going to go with for Space Channel 5. Okay, that's it. That's the first one. Moving swiftly on, Virtual On, Rev. You picked Virtual On, which
I did.
I'm gonna just flat out say I apart from the a few sessions in Yakuza games or Like a Dragon games, haven't really played much. So how do you rank this?
Honestly, I could have when you asked me for which franchise I'd like to add. The first two titles that came to mind were Sega Rally and Daytona USA. But then I thought, I mean, there's definitely going to be people who are going for that. But for Virtual On, if you don't ask someone Japanese, they're probably not. But it's going to be a B for me. And because, well, I am aware that realistically it's not as big as the ones we've rated A and S, not even in Japan. And believe me, and the biggest reason why I chose Virtual On is because I wanted to bring some awareness to the listeners of how big it is in Japan. Because I'm not joking that just a couple of months ago they opened like a huge museum for Virtual On, like 100 kilometers away from Tokyo or whatever
Nice.
it was. They still produce twin sticks that to this day for people to play Virtual On. Like 99% of those people are Japanese because it's still huge in Japan. They still produce twin sticks and they always sell out immediately. People are always going for that. If you go to the newest collections released on the PS4 and the PS5, if you try to play them online, you are always going to find tons of Japanese people who are playing it online.
Mhm.
If you go to Japanese Sega stores online and even on the internet, Virtual On is one of the franchises that's featured the most in there. You go to multiple other Japanese specific games like Super Robot Wars, and there were a few other on Steam that eventually I forgot. But Virtual On does lots of collabs with them. I think it was on Phantasy Star Online too as well. Virtual On does a lot of collabs with all of those, and it's always extremely successful. You see Virtual On mech robots on tons of Japanese games.
I don't get why Virtual On is not more popular over here because it's like it's a game about like giant mechs or something. I know it's not really mechs, but people love that kind of stuff, like Transformers, like giant robots fighting.
Yeah,
but maybe was like fur of its time, right? As well. But
I mean, they haven't
Saturn
really tried
wasn't really
releasing.
that popular here as well. And sorry,
I mean,
Say
on
they-
the Saturn days, it kind of was.
yeah.
Pretty popular back in the Saturn, yeah.
Okay. But I do think a B is fair. I'm not going to vote for or rank this, but I do believe B is fair enough. I don't know if I would rank it higher than Shinobi or Samba de Amigo. But
Well, I do, and I will.
Okay. Lime or James? Do you want to give me your...
Can I just go for one little bit? It's not just that, but it's going to be quick. I promise, Casey. It's going to be less than a minute. I also feel that it symbolizes the mid 90s / Model 2 / Saturn era for Sega, where it's so bright, it's so cheerful, the blue skies, and the music is so upbeat, and it just brings a smile to your face if you're playing it. And the music is extremely unique. It's that kind of a robotic synth, but cheerful and soft. It's not the kind of music that you can hear in. I don't think I've ever heard that kind of instrumentalization in any other game. I think it's very
really
unique.
Its own thing. You immediately recognize it.
And that's it.
Okay. James or Lime, anything to add?
I mean, seeing how Ravsieg is selling it, I might just give it an A without
An
having heard
S,
of it.
an S.
But
Yeah.
no, I've never heard of it, so I can't judge.
Okay.
I like what Rav was saying about how popular it is in Japan, because I think you do kind of have to take that into account, that despite it not really being that successful over here, it is successful somewhere. So when you're thinking of it on the merits of the series as a whole, definitely got to take that into account. Having said that, though, they, like what you said, Casey, they haven't really tried to market a virtual on game since the Saturn era over here. It's one that was like I don't know.
You
If it was
had
like a
an
cartoony looking
Xbox
RPG.
release, right? Like Xbox Arcade.
It's like an arcade, yeah. But that was
Didn't it
one
release
that
Oratory
remake
Tangram?
the original.
That's the same game as the Dreamcast one. That's
Yeah, it's the
Oratory
Dreamcast one.
Tangram.
Yeah.
That's a Model 3 original.
So they did, but it's a very different Sega now. If they did it now, I mean, because you can't even say it's big because they use it for the Yakuza games. They've been releasing everything at this point, so I don't think that's a good measure to evaluate.
Sorry,
that.
Casey.
Yeah.
Sorry, Casey. I just remembered something. So there was
But
virtual
I
on
agree
Mars.
with the B. You don't have to sell me on this.
On the
I
US?
agree with the B.
Okay.
On Mars.
I'm just trying to see if anyone disagrees or not, because I do think a B is fair enough.
One more bit of info, but yeah, I'm dragging this too long. If I don't have half a minute more, I'm gonna stop.
Okay, but anything else, James? Would
No.
you bring this down?
I might do, actually. I might. But then, with it being so popular in Japan, yeah, let's just go with a B. I think it's.
Look at those puppy eyes.
I think it could be more successful over here if they gave it a proper chance. It's a similar thing with like Valkyria Chronicles. They don't really allow it to be successful. Like with them, well, we'll probably get into that in a moment, so I won't.
Yep.
I'll save that for the next bit.
I'm just trying to move this on to keep going. So, any objections of giving this a B? Truly, no.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's give it a B, and we'll see at the end when we go through everything again. Okay, next up, Sega All Stars or Superstars. Lime, you went with this, which is a series, truth be told, right?
Yeah, the All-Star
Superstar
Racing.
Tennis, racing. That was the PSI thing. Remember that? No, me neither.
Yeah. The iToy.
The iToy. What do you think, Lime? You chose this, so.
I mean, yeah, but the All-Star Racing series, I mean, it's a series I absolutely love. Like, it's the best of its genre, like according to me, at least what I've played, and I think that it surprised a lot of people that was not previously fans of the like Sonic or Sega characters overall. Like, oh wow, this is a really solid game, and I very much agree with that. And so, for me, it's a definite S.
Makes sense.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
James.
I really like the series. I wish they would make more games in the series, or at least have the faith in it, because Transformed, I do hear a lot of people talking about that even now as like one of the
I still play it.
Kart races. Yeah, exactly. When people talk about like Mario Kart 8 or whatever, Transformed is kind of just like the next kart racing game, in my opinion, below Mario Kart. So I feel like it would. I don't know why they haven't given it another go. I know they kind of did with Team Racing. But that wasn't really what Sega
No.
fans wanted in a sense.
No, like it didn't
Yeah.
reach up to Transformed, like in my opinion.
No.
Mhm.
So I'd probably put it as a B currently, just because it's again another sort of dormant property. But I do think Sega, especially with this new era stuff, if they are trying to embrace a lot of the old IPs, a game like this to sort of amalgamate all of the IPs that they're trying to market currently with the Jet Set Radio, your Golden Axe, Shinobi, Crazy Taxi, they could actually make a new All Stars game that combines all of those series and the other series that are popular at the moment, like a Dragon, Persona, and Sonic as a given anyway. So I just think that if they were to do that, that would move it into the S tier because that's really exciting. But currently, on current standards, it's a B for me.
Yeah, they've really been moving into only Sonic characters now, haven't they? Which,
And therein lies the problem. It's not just because of that, but they I think they missed what made this series so good.
Yeah, and they have less games to make stages out of as well. Only focusing on Sonic, because then they can only pick Sonic stages.
Oh yeah.
But if it's from more series, then I mean they can do a lot more with it.
Virtual on stage.
There we go. And the characters. And the characters.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Kamurocho. So, Persona. So, I give it an A. Viper gave it an S as well, by the way. And Viper gave B to Virtual On.
Viper better have given it an S.
I'm giving it an A because I don't think it deserves it deserves to be at the same level as like a Dragon and Sonic, because of the same reason that all of us already said, or most of us, they have given up on this. It seems like they haven't really released a new game in this series since Transformed, which is criminal. They should come up with even imagine just like Transformed Deluxe with Persona, Bayonetta, like a Dragon,
Amazing.
Right? Whatever else we haven't got. Crazy Taxi.
Monkey Ball, was that in? I don't think
Monkey Ball was. Yes, Monkey Ball was in both of them. Yeah, and with stages and characters. Yeah, Streets of Rage.
Crazy Taxi, right?
Crazy Taxi? No, I don't think so.
Or was it part of the Sega Ages bit? Because I am fairly convinced I've seen the Taxi. Well, I might just be wrong. Yeah, never mind.
I don't think so. Jet Set Radio, yes, but not Crazy Taxi. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I do think that they have a lot of stuff to work with now, including the franchises that we just discussed, like Virtual On and Valkyria Chronicles. We'll talk about next. So it would be a nice idea to create something new, even if it's just like more content on top of what Transformed was. Because I don't think you can improve on the Transformed formula too much, unless they come up with like a new gameplay gimmick. But I don't think it's necessary. Just do like what Nintendo does and do a re-release called Deluxe and add some more content to it.
Yeah.
And I think we're good.
Imagine a Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed HD.
That's the Xbox version already. If you play it on the Xbox,
kind of thing. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like a remaster kind of thing then. And then they add like equally as much stages as there already are.
That would be cool.
Exactly. Yeah. Rav, what do you rank this?
I'm really sorry.
Briefly, please.
The games are all good, and I'm not talking just about the racing games, which are all brilliant and really popular. There's also the tennis game, which I really enjoyed.
Same here.
And there was the Yaitoi game. That one I don't think was received as well, but anyways. Yeah, exactly.
Didn't work very well.
And I'm the reason why I'm going to lower the average, and I'm sorry about that, is because I struggle to see this as its own thing. It's not necessarily an IP that is creating value for Sega. It's almost like a super band that's harnessing things from the other titles. So it's not necessarily generating that value. Although I do concede that it optimizes the value that other franchises in Sega got. So I just can't bring myself to go really high with it. I'm not sure if I'm being clear, but
Yes, you
since
are.
it's
I just
still
want to
good
know
and
what the
popular,
rating is.
B,
Is it a
that's a B,
C?
that's a B.
Oh,
That's no, 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 no. Oh, yeah,
Then you were not
a
being
C
clear.
would be really unfair considering the games are really good.
Oh,
That
then you were
is
not you were not being clear. I think you were being too harsh with what you were saying.
Question though, like, are we judging it like, because my pick, it's my pick, right? And
Yes.
my pick was really like the racing series, not including tennis and stuff. So like,
I think
are we
it's
judging it on?
if it's that, I'll lower mine as well. Then if it's
Yeah,
just that,
because that was my pick. I don't even know about the other stuff.
no, so, because you said all stars or superstars, and so I think it's part of a
Yeah.
series that Sumo Digital was working on.
Yeah,
I
okay. Like
consider
what
even Team Sonic Racing, but that's more Sonic.
was like the 3 games series of the racing games, like All Star Racing, Racing Transformed, and
And Team Sonic Racing?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, in that case, maybe I'll lower mine because I was not considering Team Sonic Racing here. It would lower the average for me.
Yeah.
But you were considering the tennis game then.
I was.
That's
yes.
what I
'Cause
meant.
that's what I said. That's what I said.
What I meant.
The
with
iToy as well.
my pick. Yeah.
But the average at this point, so we have an A, a B, an S, and a B. I think it's A, right?
Okay.
And I think it's a fair assessment. If we go
Definitely
with
be an
an
S.
A.
If they did a new or continue the series for me.
If they went back to it, even as just the racing game, which is like the most popular for sure, but I think it could rival Mario Kart. Maybe that's too much, but at least it would be popular amongst Sega people.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart has definitely been like more consistent with the quality. I guess I would still prefer Transformed over Mario Kart 8.
Not with the quality, I think with the releases and how long it's been active, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that leaves us with Valkyria Chronicles last because it's my pick, so I went last. And I'm gonna be honest about this. I consider this to be an A rank, A tier game, but I give it a B as a way of being fair here. I don't think. Oh, by the way, it's not Valkyria Chronicles. It's Valkyria Chronicles. I just realized there's a typo here. But I don't think that they didn't promote it to be in the West, like you said, James. I think they did a good job because I got into it because of that. I missed it when it first came out on the
Same.
PS3, I believe, but then they re-released it, and then I on the PS4, and I played it then, and then I played it on the Switch, and then I played it on Steam, and it's one of those games that I have all the versions of. The thing is, then the second game came out on the PSP, which hurt it, I believe. The third game was Japan exclusive, which really hurt it here. But then they brought out Valkyria Chronicles 4. Sorry?
And
on the Vita.
3 was PSP exclusive as well, other than being a Japan exclusive.
Yeah, which also hurt it. But it shouldn't, because the PSP was really popular in Japan. And the PSP and the Vita were very good systems for like RPG fans. So yeah. But then they came out with 4, which is a brilliant game. but I think it was a little bit too late because Revolution, which no one remembers, was like an action RPG that was really, really not that great. I'm sorry to say. So, but 4 is an amazing game. 4 is really, really good. It's like a return to form and then some. And and people, unfortunately, it probably came out at a time where people were playing other things. I don't remember when it came out. Was it like 2019?
Which
I
one?
need to look it up. 4.
Or
4.
2018, maybe.
18? Okay, yeah.
Because
Um,
yeah, I think that was late 18.
Probably. And so I think if they were promoting their games, marketing their games as they are now, we would probably be looking at a higher ranking game here or series. It was early 2018, March 2018, at least initial release date. And I urge anyone listening to this to play Valkyria Chronicles 4. 1 is amazing. It's a great game. Just go 4 if you want to. If you would like to experience what is probably the best one. I think Valkyria Chronicles 4 is the pinnacle of the series. 2 is a cool game as well. I enjoyed it. Haven't played 3, but yeah, it's a shame that it's probably a dead franchise at this point, a dormant franchise. But I think there's still a big following, specifically because of the genre. RPGs are big. And this is like sort of a tactical RPG of sorts, but not really. It's like a mix between tactical and action and turn-based and stuff, which is why probably I enjoyed it so much when I first played it, because I was not into turn-based RPGs. But it's not really like a turn-based RPG in the traditional sense. You have like action points you can move around, and that's a little bit different and more. There's more freedom in how you can move and explore the areas and take advantage of like the environments. So that's really cool. But to be honest, I wouldn't really be mad if you guys ranked this lower than a B, because I think it could probably be fair. I don't know if I can be really that objective when it comes to Valkyria Chronicles, because it's definitely one of my favorite SEGA franchises. But I think B is like the sweet spot for me here. And considering it's not been too long since the last game, maybe it's justifiable. But I don't know. Do tell me what you think.
I'm 100% with you. I mean, if it depended on how much I appreciated the game myself, personally, it would be a triple S. But
Yeah.
but I think B is fair. I do really enjoy it, and ironically, I'm pretty much fresh off a podcast recording I was invited to. And if you understand Portuguese, I could send it your way. We did spend a fair amount of time talking about Valkyria Chronicles in there yesterday. So yeah, so it's fresh in my mind. I love the style. It's beautiful. The art style is just amazing. The story is interesting. It's heavily based on real European history, a specific time in
World War
European
II.
history.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's got a huge anime twist flavor, and it's still deep. Still, the story can be really emotional. Like, don't let the cute visuals trick you. There's some heavy stuff in there.
And there's permadeath as well. So for
Yeah,
the characters in your like squad,
which really
if
stinks
someone
because you
dies,
grow attached to them.
yeah.
And although you can turn it off, from what I hear,
In 4, I believe.
okay. But yeah, but the thing is that even though 1 and 4 were both received very well and they're brilliant games, they're really underrated gems, honestly. If you like a bit of strategy on your anime style RPG game, that is for you. That game blends strategy really well with action and an RPG, as Casey said.
I'd say
So the
try it
reason why I'm
anyway, because I wasn't really a fan of either of those genres, and I really enjoyed it.
okay.
So give it a try, I would say.
Yeah, but the reason I'm giving it a B as well is because honestly, it's not really mainstream enough for it to be as recognizable as many of the other IPs we've been discussing here. Even though many of them have been dormant, there's still bigger names than, unfortunately, Valkyria Chronicles is. That's it.
Agree.
It deserves more.
Yeah, I probably tend to agree with a B. I think there is a market for this type of game at the moment because I feel like there's been a real resurgence of turn-based strategy type games with your Personas, your Metaphors that are doing so well that alongside that, Sega could really promote a Valkyria Chronicles type of game, and it would be a success right now. I've only really played the first one, the remastered version on the PS4, and for someone that doesn't like turn-based games, actually it's quite inviting. Actually, it's not too hardcore turn-based because, like you said, Casey, you can explore, you can pick which target you want to target, and even snipe them from a distance and that sort of stuff. There's quite a fun element to the gameplay strategically.
Even a bit of an arcadey feel as well, because there are missions. If
Yeah.
you know what you're doing, you can like in one turn or two turns just complete a mission.
That's on
And
the
just, like,
first one, though. I feel like they avoided
four-
that pretty well on 4.
Was probably a more
actually
like
got to change
streamlined
your strategy a
experience.
lot on 4.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you, James.
No, but yeah, like Rav was saying about the story as well, I hadn't thought about it for a while, but then as she was talking about it, I was thinking like, yeah, it was quite a good story because like the dude's name's Welkin, isn't it? And just
Yeah.
the introduction to the first game, I just remember feeling quite emotional towards this character, and then his interaction with the girl, I forget her name, but
Alicia.
yeah, okay, yeah, good
Yeah.
game. Perhaps, like you said, Casey, because it's been a bit dormant, wasn't really marketed, not as popular as some titles, I probably would put it as a B, actually.
Yeah.
I think it is a game that could be a lot more successful than it currently is if it was given more of a chance as well. It's another one of those games that hasn't really been given a full chance from Sega.
Mhm.
Unfortunately.
On the Radio Sega side of things, Purvis said that Valkyria Chronicles had a lot of misfortune. It came out in the era when JRPGs were hated because they were JRPGs. It was stuck on PS3, and also it was a very stripped down experience, which was the style of the time. Yeah, maybe. Being a stripped down experience maybe was what made me like it and turned me onto it. And then I played the other ones, which are definitely not as simple and streamlined as the original. But I agree. A re-release of sort, not a re-release. They're they're playable in Xbox Series consoles, PS5, I believe, because it's retro compatible, and PC. So just promote the game a little bit more. Like you said, it's part of a genre that is popular these days. So, and it's a really, really good game. Lime, any thoughts on Valkyria Chronicles?
Agree with the promote it more. First time I heard of it.
Okay. Ouch. That hurts, but I understand.
I blame you. I need more Sega education.
It proves our point, though, doesn't it?
Exactly. It proves our point. Yeah, it proves our point. So
what point? Sorry.
That it needs more promotion.
It needs to be
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I agree with that point. It needs more.
Yeah. Very good. So this is the definitely not definitive ranking tier list of Sega franchises. Okay. So S ranks, for people listening, S ranks, Like a Dragon and Sonic the Hedgehog. A ranks, Persona, Shenmue, Football Manager, Virtua Fighter, Streets of Rage, Bayonetta, and the All-Stars / Superstars series. B ranks, Puyo Puyo, Fantasy Star, Monkey Ball, Hatsune Miku, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Space Channel 5, Virtual On, Valkyria Chronicles. And C ranks, Somebody Amigo, Golden Axe, and Shinobi. No D ranks, because we're nice like that. Do we need to change anything here? And also...
Yeah, we need to move All-Star Racing up to S. That's what we need.
Do we need to change how, like, the order in each tier? Because we did that last time. So we placed, for example, Persona before Shenmue and Shenmue before Football Manager. Do we need to adjust anything this, or is it good like it is?
No, we
Shinobi
need
has
to,
the first on C rank.
Shinobi first on C rank?
Yeah,
So like this?
Yeah.
Before
yeah, I'm happy with that.
Somebody Amigo?
I think so.
Which got a
I'm
new
not-
game last year?
I'm not sure if this opinion is consensual here, but that's my opinion.
I mean, I give it a
think
B.
I agree with that, actually. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I'd probably put Bayonetta in front of maybe not Streets of Rage. I don't know.
I would
Might
actually...
be okay. I don't know.
I would probably move it over here.
I
guess
agree.
so.
From
I know what you
what I know.
mean.
If
Yeah.
we're being honest. But I don't know. I'm fine
mean,
with this, so
You can put it anywhere
They're
after
all-
Shenmue if you
they're
like.
all they're all A ranks, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair list, to be honest.
I think we've just sold Sega there. Yeah.
I think yeah. We solved with the Sega puzzle.
That's it.
We fixed Sega for them. So and so what they should do now is invert this and start releasing games from the C tier up. So we have a new Shinobi coming
So
up.
all of
We have a
them.
new Golden Axe. Yeah, we had a Seba de Amigo last year. So now we need more Valkyria Chronicles, more Virtual On, Space Channel 5, Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, Hatsune Miku, Monkey Ball, Fantasy Star, and Puyo Puyo. That's it. And leave the other ones for later.
Well, maybe more Shenmue. If it
Yeah.
helps, you can put Shenmue and C if it means that we'll get a Shenmue 4.
Yeah, so you heard it here first. Shenmue gets D. So it's go. Yeah. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool. So after like 4 hours of discussing this tier list between 2 episodes in the span of 9 months, we achieved the impossible. We came up with the definitely not definitive and definitely not official Sega franchise tier list. Well done, guys. Good job. Good job.
Oh, this is
If-
official. Signed by Sega. Definitely.
Signed by Sega. Sega, the man called Sega went there. It's Sega. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sega. So, guys, first of all, thank you very much for joining me for this discussion. Always appreciated that you guys take the time to have these chats with me. I also wanted to invite whoever's listening or watching to tell us why we are wrong. So why should Shenmue be an S tier game? Why, Purvis, should All Stars Racing be a B? Purvis on Radio Sega is saying that. So why? Do tell us. Do leave us a comment on the YouTube video, for example. Explain your reasoning, and maybe you're right. Maybe we need to change this next year or something. We'll see what happens with the new era stuff as well. Maybe we'll change our minds sometime. But that's it for this week's episode. I just wanted to give you guys a chance to tell us what you're working on and where people can find you. Let's start with James.
Yo. I am SkillJim. You can find me mainly on ShenmueDojo.com. We're actually taking part in the Winterfest that Casey promoted a little bit earlier. We're just before Casey's Night Train. So that is 8 p.m.
Choo-choo.
on... Is that this coming Monday?
Yes,
Is
it
that
is.
that early, right?
Yeah.
Crikey. Yeah, Christmas is fast approaching. But yeah, if you want to listen to me and Matt chat to George Kitchen about the upcoming Dreams of Saturn 2.0, which is an awesome Shenmue fan game. It looks incredible and can't wait to play that. Then definitely check that out. Always like a nice, fun little time with the Christmas show. So yeah, definitely check that out. Other than that, I don't know. I'm shipping Shenmue World Issue 3s if anyone's bought one.
Yes.
So
You're
I'm
shipping
in the process of that.
Oh my God, where did I put it? Oh my God, the pin.
Pin.
It's on the floor. I'll pick it up. Okay,
All
you have
been and
one
gone
there.
now, Casey.
Okay, there we go.
24th
It's here.
anniversary of the dojo.
Yes, yes.
Been
So
in
there you go. There you go. And thank you very much, James, for
Thank you.
joining us. Yeah.
Appreciate
Lime.
it.
Hi. Yeah, I am Lime Reversed on Twitch. I'm proud to say that I very recently ended a 4-year journey of 100%ing all main console Sonic games. So yeah, that was definitely a feat, and I'm very, very proud of that one. So what's next? Well, we've seen throughout this series that I need some SEGA education. So hopefully we'll play some Virtua Fighter with Ravsieg, and then Casey and I will play, some more Sega games that I've that I already bought and have. By the way,
I'm gonna say the season of this show is gonna end soon, so maybe we'll have some more free time to do some extra streams and play some games.
Yeah.
Saying.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to it.
Shout out to Boop, by the way.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. I have a new character on my stream named Boop the Husky. Very cute one.
Really cute.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Slime. And Rav.
As for me, you can find me on pretty much all social media there is. It's always going to be Ravsieg, Ravsieg. My personal projects, there really hasn't been a lot of news, if any news at all, since I last talked about this on the Saturn episode from a few weeks ago, on the Saturn 30th birthday. If you haven't listened to it, please do. It was
grab a snack, grab a drink, take a seat. It's a long one.
Casey, myself, and the Sega guys. Yes, Christmassy, yes. But I've been invited to a bunch of Portuguese podcasts in the last few months. So if that's something you understand, I will be sure to share them on my social media channels. Most of them revolve around Sega as well, so it's something that if you're listening to this, you're gonna understand what we're talking about. And also, I will be presenting a Mega Drive music quiz for Winterfest, for Radio Sega's 10th Winterfest. That's going to be Saturday, 11 a.m. Go and join Radio Sega's Discord channel if you want to go for Sonic Superstars Steam Key.
There you go. That's a nice pitch there. As for myself, the Sega Lounge is very close to its season finale, but we have 2 more shows, 2 more episodes. So coming up next week, we'll finally talk about, and I need my 2 hands for this, Metaphor Refantasio. We'll talk about Metaphor Refantasio, which has been consuming my life, my very little free time, I'll be honest. But we're finally ready to talk about that. So that's coming next week. And then we'll have the season finale, which will be just a surprise. I've talked about this last week, but we're gonna do like a year in review thing. That's 2 weeks from now. So thank you very much for joining us for this episode 245. So many already of the Sega Lounge. I'll be live on Monday as part of Winterfest with Night Train. So if you're into chill Sega music, join me over on Radio Sega, and do check out Radio Sega's Winterfest 2024. As for us, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
The Sega Lounge, hosted by me, KC, and part of Radio Sega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to podcast@thesegalounge.com. Find us at The Sega Lounge on X, Twitter, and Instagram, at thesegalounge.com on Blue Sky, and be sure to check out our Twitch and YouTube channel for live video content. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com, on the Terra Player app, and wherever you listen to podcasts. A Mixed On Productions podcast.